Hi, Scott. ROCKFILE back with another podcast review. Let's talk about 2007's Wind Chill. Saw this on one of those lists of horror movies you've never seen. Wind Chill, directed by Gregory Jacobs, starring Emily Blunt, Ashton Holmes, and Martin Donovan. Came out in April of 2007. Had a small budget, 90-minute film. That's pretty good. And it actually had Steven Soderbergh and George Clooney as producers on it. Matter of fact, Gregory Jacobs, before he directed this, had been a second unit director on a lot of Steven Soderbergh's biggest films. It's the story of two college students trekking home to Delaware right before Christmas, getting caught in a storm, getting run off the road, and strange things happen after that. Don't want to give too much away because not too many people have seen this film. It's described as a supernatural thriller, and I don't know that I would have kept watching it if it wasn't described as that, because the first half of it's just pretty standard. Emily Blunt's really great. So is Ashton. I mean, they're playing great roles, but there's a dark thing that's kind of going on undercurrent that when it finally is discovered, I think she would have reacted a little bit differently, probably a little more forceful. And then what happens and the car accident and everything, just... This is one of those movies that I said I would have stopped right there. You know, if it were me in that situation, it'd be like, we're not going another step further until I know a little bit more about this. But this is one of those movies that you kind of have to go along with. Once you get past the car accident, the strange things start happening when they're stuck in the snow. It's very interesting. Like I said, the whole movie's well acted, well directed. There's a lot of practical effects. They're on big sets. There was some green screen stuff, but most of the stuff was filmed on location in British Columbia, I believe. So very snowy. That's kind of the night they're on. And you get these kind of visions of things. I don't want to get too much into the details, but what the movie becomes is really interesting. I just don't think the whole thing came together like it's supposed to. Now, the movie was released in the United States for some reason on a 3-pack from Mill Creek. So I think it's 3 movies on one disc. They might have separate discs. I don't know. I was going to buy that version, but then my Atomic Movie Store had an Australian version of just the Blu-ray, and it was pretty cheap. Comes at a nice slip cover, has 1 extra on it. I'm like, well, at least that will look better than a Mill Creek version because Mill Creek compresses the crap out of their movies. So anyway, it came in the other day and I waited to watch it. I'm a huge Emily Blunt fan, and this is one of her early roles. Like, she made her debut in 2006, a year earlier. So she's playing a college student and she's about that age, and she fit the role very well. Winning smile and a great personality, but probably too trusting of this guy that she took a ride with. Like I said, when it gets to some of the things, especially the second half and the final third of the film, it really is a lot of interesting things going on. I just don't think they got there or put it all together as well as it could have been. And you can imagine with people like George Clooney and Steven Soderbergh involved, I don't know, did they take their thumb off the wheel for a minute there or whatever? Because you see some visions of things. At first, you're not real sure about them. Like maybe somebody's walking just past the window and they don't really call attention to it and nobody notices it. And you don't know, was that a mistake or was that supposed to be there? But when you finally know what's going on and everything, I think it's well done. It just doesn't all quite add up. It was an entertaining watch. It's got some great tension. And if you like those stories of being snuck in the snow and things are happening and you don't know if you're going to get out of alive, it's got some good tension and it's a well-made film. I'm not saying it's bad in any way, shape, or form. I just don't think it came together to be the cult classic that we all wanted it to be. Emily Blunt's great in it. When Martin Donovan shows up, he's fantastic. Like I said, the behind the scenes and the trouble they went to film this movie to get the car accident just right and some of the other things and what it teases and what it finally delivers. It's all really well done. Just something's just missing that didn't make this a classic. Why Sony TriStar didn't release this regularly through their normal home video channels, and I had to get this as an Australian import or in a collection with 2 other movies from Mill Creek here in the United States. It's not a movie that's been treated very well over the years, I guess. But it's not a bad flick at all, and if you like ghost stories kind of things, like the original Ghost Story, something like that, then maybe you would dig this film. I think it's worth watching if you're a fan of Emily Blunt or any of the other actors, or just the subject matter. It's just not going to be the best one you ever watched, and it's kind of forgettable when it's over. Well directed, well acted, and well done. Just they also made this weird decision to not give anybody a name in the movie. It's guy and girl and cop and Literally, nobody has a name. But you do learn about them, and that's the first half of the movie. And like I said, first half of the movie is very standard. Second half of the movie, very good. Just how they got there and how they put it all together. I don't know that I would have done it differently because I don't know how you would have done it differently, but it could have been done better, more entertainingly, I guess. But still, the movie is worth a watch if any of what I've said sounds interesting. Wind Chill, it's available now from Imprint in Australia and Mill Creek here in the United States. Emily Blunt, 2007, not bad. Please like, share, and subscribe. Have a spectacular day, and thank you for listening.